What's up, folks? I'm Jay, and I am here to answer your most asked questions about Belize, Cape Cocker, all that stuff in general. My wife and I have been living here for about 2.5 years, and we've been visiting since 2012. And I know for sure enough that I don't know everything, but I have learned a lot, and I'll share what I can as we go. So please keep the questions coming. Drop them in the comments below. Hit subscribe so that we can keep doing this kind of thing. And let's get into the next one. Everyone asks this first. Can you drink the water in Belize? The short answer, yes and no. It really depends on a couple of things. So it depends where you are, which dictates how it's been treated for the most part. And then, there's a couple other nuances there. So let's clear this up so you don't overreact or underthink it. All right, so the first question on this one, I've divided these into kind of like subcategories here. So the first one is tap water safe on Cape Cocker? And the answer in short is yes, but there's like a depends element here. So October 2024, they added a reverse osmosis plant. So before it used to just be desalinated and then treated with a bunch of chemicals and chlorine and stuff, not unlike or dissimilar to what you would have in North America. But now it's reverse osmosis, comes right out of the sea behind me here. So it's also way cleaner than what you would have in North America. So North America, for example, if you're not familiar with how the water works in the States or most places in Canada, when you're on the grid, for example, your water that you flush down the toilet, your quote unquote black water, if you're into RVing and stuff like that, your poo water, that stuff goes all the way down into the sewage, gets separated by a bunch of filters, and then it gets treated with a bunch of chemicals. It's essentially recycled. They add a little bit more from Lake Ontario kind of thing into it as well, so it's like not full recycled, but a lot of it is. And then it's just chemically treated so that you don't die or get like serious infections when you drink it, right? Down here, completely different. So the water comes out of the sea, typically a lot cleaner. It's treated with reverse osmosis and then rendered drinkable. My wife and I fill the coffee pot with it every day. We've been brushing our teeth with it since 2012, actually, 14 years now, and zero issues. So there's people that will tell you that no, you cannot drink the water, but then they'll tell you that yes, they brush their teeth with it. Essentially, if you brush your teeth with it, it's fine. You can't brush your teeth with it and expect not to get sick if the water wasn't good. So that said, that's the town water in Cape Cocker, and I know Placencia is pretty much the same thing. People down there have also told us the same thing, that you can, brush your teeth with it, drink it, no issues. What I will say is that if you are getting water from a vat, so rain catchment and stuff like that, you would think, rainfall is the cleanest water you can probably get. Fresh water at least, no need to desalinate or anything like that. But if those vats are not, catchment basins are not cleaned properly, they can, get algae on them, they can get fungicide. If they're not netted properly, you can get bird droppings in there, you can get small critters, fall and die in there kind of thing. And that'll totally render the water not healthy, not drinkable, and make you quite sick. So always double check that way, right? The restaurants around here, all their ice and stuff is either made from the same reverse osmosis and then filtered water, which safe, or they buy their ice in bags like we would back in North America from a distribution center, which is also made from filtered water and safe for drinking. So you do not have to worry about your frozen drinks, ice in your rum and cokes, or whatever you're having, or your rum punch. For perspective, I have colitis, and it's been a million times better, basically a non-issue down here on Cape Cocker for the last 2.5 years that we've been living here, compared to Canada right now or Ontario. It was way worse. So zero issues for me, and coming from a guy with sensitive guts, right? Do locals drink it? Absolutely. Is mainland water different from island water? Yes, in that if you're more in the interior, there's less likely that you're on the water grid, whatever they call that, the aqueduct. No, it's not aqueducts. I don't know, the water lines, whatever. Less likely you're connected to it, so greater potential that you have water catchment. And if you don't have your own treatment things in your house or whatever, or the apartment building that you're renting from or in, then that could be an issue. And the alternative though is no brainer, super simple. It's $5 Belize, so $2.50 US for a 5-gallon jug that you would put on a water cooler in your normal office kind of thing. Those are standard in every home pretty much here. So super safe to do. The only time we don't use the tap water is literally drinking out of a cup, only because I find that the stuff in the gallon jug just typically tastes a little bit better. But personal preference, people drink it all the time. Like I said, we make coffee with it, which is diuretic in its own right, and still colitis, no issues. Do tourists get sick from it? No. Tourists say they sometimes get sick from it, but typically that's probably got something to do with the amount of alcohol they had the night before. They'll blame it on food. Could be from, you know, unwashed lettuce or something like that. Like the romaine is imported, so we have the same issues with romaine that you guys have had in Canada and the States, E. coli and stuff like that. You know, it's bacteria is a thing, but not from the water here. So unless of course it was washed in, you know, water that wasn't clean, which could be if it was like potentially a roadside stand or something, but you're not going to get really like salad and that kind of thing from there. And anywhere else you would get food is probably, you know, has boiled the water or whatever they're doing. So, you know, nothing's going to harm you that way either. Tourists also get sick and gut rot from just like fresh food. Like when we moved here, I was 216 pounds. And within the first 4 or 5 months, I dropped 30 pounds down to 186. I am now about 193, kind of like leveled off there. But yeah, and I'm slowly, you know, creeping back down again. So not from getting sick, not from anything like that. If you're getting sick, it's probably because you're not used to the freshness of the produce, but definitely not from the water. Should you filter your water at home? That depends on your personal preference, coming down to taste. If you're in an Airbnb or in a hotel, they're going to be on the town water, which is again safe. If the place you're staying in is off-grid, what will dictate that is whether or not they have their own UV filtration system or anything like that, or reverse osmosis, you know, coming off their water catchment. But those places again will always also have a 5-gallon jug in your room or in your kitchenette area for you to drink from. So no issue there. So this is the kind of honest breakdown that helps. Subscribe, please drop your questions down below and hit that bell so you stick around and get notified when I answer and or drop a next video. I'll keep answering the questions that people are actually asking without any of the hype. I'll give you the real deal. Go slow, stay sharp, and do not fight the tide.